Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
So, Jonathan, you tried out for the swim team twice and never made it?
I'm asthmatic. I couldn't keep up.
You resented it, didn't you?
Maybe.
You hated being pushed around by Dodd and the others.
So?
So you wanted revenge, didn't you? Didn't you?
Yeah, okay. I did.
So, you delved into the black arts and conjured up a hell beast from the ocean's depths to wreak your vengeance. Didn't you?
What? No. I snuck in yesterday and peed in the pool.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our reaction to it, giving our review. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 20, titled Go Fish, directed by David Semel, written by David Fury and Elin Hampton. The original air date was May 5th, 1998, to an audience of 5.13 million people. So a little jump in the old viewership. Yeah, this is a wild one.
Yeah, before we got on, I was telling you, this is the type of episode I like when they go off the main story. Just getting really weird with it.
Yeah, this kind of felt like a Season 1 episode to me, where it's like Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some trivia that I think episode 30, the hospital episode, was supposed to be a Season 1 episode.
Oh, that would make so much more sense.
Yeah, but they already had like a hospital one in Season 1. That's probably why they moved this. Like, you don't need two invisible hospital ghost type episodes in a season. But yeah, this one's weird though, too.
This one has very weird plot points. A lot of notable, recognizable actors in it as well.
Yeah.
I was surprised, and like there was one point where I had to pause and be like, "Is that person?"
Yep. Yeah, we got somebody. We're gonna get a bunch of cameos of those people that have made it or started other stuff, but which is always fun when you watch a show from 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah. All right. Well, shall we get into the old review here, Vance?
Yeah. Let's not keep people waiting. Let's get into it.
All right. So the episode starts with the typical Buffy intro. I don't know when do they decide to put that in?
It is interesting because, and this one, sometimes they'll just go like with the cold open. This one didn't really have a cold open.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do like Giles reading it though.
It is better than the first Season 1 where it was like some random, everyone's in a jittery.
Yeah, because you feel like Giles cares about the Slayer when he delivers it.
So it opens with a bonfire party at the beach for the swim team that's going to the championship or something. Like, swim team has never been like a cool fucking thing to be a part of. But apparently at Sunnydale, like, it's the coolest.
We didn't grow up in California. We don't know. We don't know how hardcore. You know, we're just from Maryland. You know, Michael Phelps's hometown.
Yeah. Like when I was in my high school, like the swim team were the nerds. Like in my high school, the soccer team were the cool kids.
Yeah.
And the swim team were like the kids that couldn't get on the basketball or wrestling team.
Yeah, wrestling was always a weird one. It was like, those were the like kind of tough guys a bit, but like no one really cared.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, dude, the wrestling conditioning. I just remember seeing them. They had to run like a zillion miles.
Would they ever wear like trash bags and stuff to cut weight? And shit? That stuff is insane to me.
Yeah. It is wild. Like those weight cuts are crazy. But yeah, I was on the swim team for like a week or two at my high school. And they had to get up before school and practice, and then you had to practice after school. And I was like, dude, fuck this.
That's hard. Swimming's hard too. It's not easy.
Yeah. So then Xander is like jealous of the swim team because Cordelia is like talking about how cool the swim team is. And he's like, oh, what do you want? You want to be with one of the swim team guys? Ugh.
The insecurities, man.
Yeah. And they're talking about like this is the first time that one of their teams has been up for like a state championship in forever because they're not good at anything. And Willow's like, we're number one in mortality rate.
Like, oh, you're going to keep going up after this episode.
Yeah. Xander's like, we're number one.
I do like Cordelia's point of like, I'm tired of cheering for losers.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah. All right. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
You're a cheerleader. Yeah.
But while Xander, Cordelia, and Willow are all hanging out at the actual party, Buffy is out brooding alone by her lonesome, just staring out at the waves.
Why are they even at this party?
I don't know. Like, who invited them?
They seem like they're there.
A loser.
Yeah, they seem like they're there, but they don't want to be there, and they don't know anybody.
Yeah, like they're hanging out with themselves.
Yeah.
At the swim team party.
Yeah.
Like, no one would invite Xander. No one would invite Willow. Cordelia would definitely be invited. Buffy, 50-50.
Yeah, this episode we get to learn that Buffy is either the weirdo or the hot one that people want to...
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know where her stature is in the school, what her status is.
But speaking of that, while Buffy is sitting there alone, a guy comes up from behind to go chat with her. Some dude named Cameron Walker. And he comes up to like mac on Buffy.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, isn't it beautiful looking at the waves? And she's like, who are you?
Yeah, he comes up and he's like, oh, the ocean, its mother, it gives life and death. And like, he's saying some weird, creepy stuff. I'm like, just stab him in the chest, Buffy. Like,
yeah. Like, anytime anyone's too poetic, just stab him in the chest in this show.
And it doesn't seem like she knew him.
It seemed like she didn't know him. But then when she starts talking to him, she did she ask for his name or did she know his name?
I don't remember. I just know he's like, oh yeah. I think she said he wants to spend time with her, and he's like, no pressure or something. And he's just, I just like spending time with you. And I'm like, have they spent time together at all?
Yeah, this guy's never shown up in the show before.
Yeah, but I'm like, even if he hasn't shown up in the show, it needs to be like implied that like, oh, they've seen each other in a class or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like he was like, oh, I saw you at the last meet. I couldn't help but look over and see you at the last meet, you know?
Yeah.
And she could have been like, I was just there to support Cordelia. And, you know, something like that. And you're like, okay, at least we know where he knows her from. This just seemed like came out of... And, you know, I mean, I guess the stuff he's saying is because of what we find out later. All this, like, ocean, mother, like... But it's really comes across as creepy and not flirtatiously cool at all.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if somebody came up and was talking all that talk, I'd be like, what is up with you, dude? Like, you're fucking weird. And I think that's kind of the vibe that Buffy's giving off too. She's like, oh, what?
But she still seems like she want to hang out with this dude.
Yeah. And then we cut back to the actual bonfire and our old pal. Nerdy guy.
Pal. Jonathan is his name in this show.
Jonathan. Yeah. He's getting bullied by the swim team. They're giving him like they're dunking his head. It's like they're trying to drown. They're trying to give him a swirly, but he's not in a toilet bowl.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just dumping his head in the ice water, and everyone's just standing around looking.
Yeah. And then Buffy comes over to save him from the bully. And then the bully like walks away, and he's walking with our first guest star.
I do want to say this. Once she helps Jonathan's like, hey, back off. I don't need your help to Buffy. He's like,
I could have handled it myself.
And I'm like, I hate when shows do that. Like, because we've seen this happen with Xander when she helped Xander against what's our guy name? Dude that came out.
Oh yeah, pirate guy.
Yeah. And he's like
Larry.
Yeah. He's like, Larry, I got it. I can handle myself, Buffy. And I'm like, do you guys just want to get beat up? Like,
yeah,
Buffy, like you're about to get drowned by the swim team.
Yeah.
And at least someone stepped up.
Yeah, Buffy like beat the crap. Like she wailed on this dude.
Yeah.
Like she threw him off of Jonathan like pretty handily.
I'll just say not every girl that has to deal with these guys has the strength of the Slayer. So yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, not every guy apparently. Jonathan's getting his ass beat.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if these guys are being creepy to Buffy later, you know, they're creepy to other girls that don't have the not all of them have witchcraft or
Slayer strength.
Yeah.
Or they do, because apparently, like, so many people in the school are superpowered. They're like supernatural.
Too many people are dying for any of that to even matter, though.
That's true. So the bully runs off with his buddy, and his buddy is our first guest star that was recognizable. Good old Wentworth Miller. The dude, I just kept writing his name down as Prison Break.
Yeah, I know him from Prison Break, a show I never seen, but because
I've never seen that show either.
But because I was alive in the 90s, I saw all the promos.
Dude, that was like a mid-2000s
Was it early 2000s? Yeah, it would have been early 2000s. But yeah.
I just remember like girls in high school were obsessed with him.
Yeah, and it was promos to death of that show.
Yeah.
But I never watched a single episode.
Yeah.
It was big.
Didn't he come out as gay, Wentworth Miller?
Maybe. Is he British? Is he English? Because I noticed some English accent later.
I mean, Wentworth Miller is a very British name.
Yes.
Like he is, no, he's American. Oh, he's an American-British actor.
Okay. Because
he was born in Chipping Norton, United Kingdom.
Okay, because his accent comes out later in this episode, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. His name is Wentworth Earl Miller III.
Yeah, you don't get much British than that.
Yeah. He went to Princeton. Yeah. But so Prison Break's there. And he is walking along the beach with this bully that was bullying Jonathan, and they're talking about like, man, why can't we bully people? Like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, Buffy's weird. Buffy's a bitch. Like, they're like going at it with Buffy.
Yeah, and then Wentworth Miller, his name in this episode is Gage.
Yeah.
So Gage like kind of looks away from the bully, and then the bully just disappears.
Well, Gage just keeps walking. He's like, hey, let's go walk on the beach. And then he keeps walking. And they do this in TV shows where someone keeps walking and doesn't notice the person next to him has stopped.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's no conversation. Like, it's not like he's talking to himself and he got lost.
Yeah.
He just keeps walking.
Yeah.
And then the other guy is hearing the call of the ocean or something. Or he smells something. He smells something.
Yeah, he smells something, and then Gage just keeps walking. Then he turns around. He's like, "Hey, bully guy, I don't remember this guy's name.
Yeah,
bully guy,
Sean, maybe.
Where'd you go? And then did we see his remains?
We see it later. Like Wentworth doesn't find it. He's like,
okay.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Guess you just drowned. That happens.
And then we cut to under the docks of this beach, and a creature of the Black Lagoon looking motherfucker just walks off into under the docks, and then we get the intro song.
But we see the body, we see the skin of It's a whole. It looks like the bully was eaten from the inside out. Like it's just it's just like a skin suit there. And I wish it was a real skin suit and it'd be a person walking around in like a Men in Black style skin suit.
Oh, man.
But no, it's just like this weird skin suit there and like this monster walking around. We're like, all right. I was like, this is an interesting enough intro for a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got me.
Yeah.
So then we get the intro song, and then we come back, and Willow is teaching pie charts at computer class. She's still teaching at this school.
I wrote down Willow teaches pie chart class.
Yeah. And then she's checking everybody's work. And she's like, good job, great pie chart. This is looking good. And then she gets to the back to where Gage is, and Gage is playing solitaire with naked ladies on the backside of the thing. She's like, Gage, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? I don't know. I don't need to learn pie charts. And she's like, you're playing it with naked ladies, though. This is inappropriate. And he's like, whatever, nerd. And then class is dismissed because the bell rings.
Yeah.
And then the principal shows up and he's like, Willow, you're doing such a great job teaching this. We're having a real hard time finding a computer sub, though. So you're going to need to keep teaching computer class indefinitely.
Like, Willow, we need you to keep teaching this class until you find that disc that fell between the desk. Because there's no logical reason that this girl is going to teach and finish the year teaching this class. The class that she herself was taking.
Yep.
Insane.
It's wild, dude. I guess you could explain it away as like she's the only person that knows computers because computers were like more of a new thing.
Yeah.
But they don't say that.
And that would be more of at that point, a computer class would be more of an elective than a like, oh, you have to get a good grade in this or else you don't graduate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just insane to me. Like a parent teacher meeting and she's like, hey, I don't know, Gage is doing terrible.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Tommy's pie charts were off the charts, let me tell you. This guy's killing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the principal's asking her to keep subbing. She's like, okay, that's awesome. I love to do that. And then he's like, I also want to bring up this little issue here. You keep giving Gage really bad grades. What's up with that? And she's like, yeah, he sucks at computers. And the principal's like, but don't you understand? He's on our swim team and they have to win the championship because our school has been losers for so long and we need him to win this championship. And the other guy, he's gone missing and we need Gage to be on the swim team. And without Gage, we're never going to win this championship and we're all going to be losers forever. She's like, so you have to pass him. And I was like, I didn't know that the politics of the swim team were this intense.
We learned that he's supposed to like keep the Hellmouth stuff under wrap. And his worry is that winning the swim team. And it just really doesn't make any sense at all. And I also don't like this for the principal's character turn. Because we already know he's like kind of a bad guy. But here he's like maliciously evil.
Yeah. And he's like, I'll fire you if you don't. It's like, I'm not even supposed to be teaching this. Like,
just
what is he threatening her with?
Just change the grade when the grade comes through. Like, she's a student.
Right? Like, you've got access to the permanent records. Like, what do you?
She's like, hey, you teach the class, but just give us your recommendations and I'll handle the grading. Like, that's all you have to do. She's not a real teacher either. And it's just,
is Willow getting paid for this too? Like, what is her incentive to keep doing this?
I don't know. And this doesn't really get paid off at all, this like moral quandary.
Yeah. And like, I just don't know what's in it for Willow. And I don't know what he's threatening her with. He's just like, don't you know you like,
yeah.
I just want to feel like if you're going to get fired. She's like, no, I've got kids to feed. Like, what?
Like, oh, you know, that valedictorian you're angling for might not like he doesn't threaten her with anything. You're right.
Yeah. So then Willow's talking about it with Xander, and Xander's like, that's bullshit. Mm-hmm. Fuck these swim team guys. They think that they're all hot shots. And Cordelia makes some kind of comment about not all men are created equal. And she's like, the swim team has precedence over all of us losers. Yeah. So we need to win this state championship because they're winners and we're all losers. So and you should pass them.
They really try to drive that home too. Like, like later the guy's like, it's not clothes for me. Like, it's like, guys, you're a swim team high school student. You're not like cutting in line at a VIP club or something.
Yeah, like I don't.
It's high school.
This is also the first
like the
time.
State. It's like they're like the high school. It's not even hard to make this team.
Well, this is the first time that we hear or see anything about the swim team. Like in previous seasons or episodes, the football team was like, oh, Larry's like the fucking guy, and we need to clone his brother because he was a great guy and he was going to go to Stater or whatever. Yeah. Like the football team seemed like the big deal, but they don't get the privileges that the swim team got. Like Like, this swim team runs the school.
I know.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know what happens here, but the next scene is Buffy.
The transition is Xander's bitching about the swim team, and he's like, "Oh, I'm pissed that Buffy's not here to hear my quips about the swim team because she's off being with one of them."
Yeah, so Buffy is being driven to school, it looks like, by that guy from the beach, Cameron Walker.
Yeah.
And he's like blabbing about the ocean again. He loves the ocean. We had such a great time. And Buffy is like, all right, guy. Okay, this is my stop. Like, thanks for blabbing about the ocean. I really don't care. You're a weird guy. And then he locks her in the car. And he's like, are you wearing a bra? Just out of nowhere.
Dude, it comes out of left field like he's just been rambling about the ocean like a psycho, and he goes, are you wearing a bra? And I was like, okay, this has to still be some fish related ocean thing. He's like, because a bra is not good for swimming. You should really use. I thought he was going to say something. I didn't know this was going to turn the way it did.
Yeah. So he's like, are you wearing a bra? And she's like, what? And he's like, you know, I can't handle myself around you. And he locks her and he starts to try and like mac on her and like sexually assault her. Buffy beats the shit out of him, like punches him, slams his head into the steering wheel. And he's like, oh, my nose. He broke my nose. Principal Snyder's walking by and he sees all of this. And he points to Buffy and he's like, you into my office.
Buffy's look on her face when she sees him and he's looking at her. She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me that this guy was going to sexually assault Buffy on school campus, broad daylight, where the principal's walking by.
Yeah. That's how fucking on top of everything the swim team is. They can get away with
like
sexual assault.
Like, I mean, he's just like right there. Like the principal would have walked by and been like, all right, good for our boys.
Like, that's my man.
Yeah.
So then we go to Cam at the nurse's office and he's like, did it break my nose? And the nurse is like, no, it'll be fine. You just got, a cut on your nose and your sinuses are all reorganized because of that smack to the steering wheel. And this is celebrity appearance number 2. And I didn't recognize her at first. It took me a while. I needed to hear her voice a bit more. But this lady was the housekeeper on 2.5 Men.
Another show I have not watched yet, knew that's where she was from.
Yeah. I mean, my parents loved that show.
Yeah.
So we used to watch it all the time, but I didn't recognize her until I heard her voice and I was like, wait, is that the lady from
I will say
Men?
Her first line is really awkward in this.
Yeah.
I forget what she said. She's like, sure, or something weird. And it's like, I was like, is that going to be her only line of the episode? No, she gets a spiel later.
So while Cam and the nurse are in the nurse's office, Buffy's in there too, getting reprimanded by the principal. And the principal's like, why would you do this to our swim team captain? That's bullshit. Why would you try and break his nose? And then she's like, I'm the victim here. He was trying to sexually assault me. And then Cameron, fucking just typical sexual assaulter, was like, well, I mean, look at what she's wearing. If she didn't want it, she shouldn't have been wearing that. And I was like, God.
I know. I was like, ugh. And it gets worse from here.
Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, yes, it absolutely does.
I was like, oh, my God, if Buffy punched him in his nose right here, I would love it so much.
Yeah. But, yeah, he's like, she led me on. And she's like, I didn't lead you on to anything. And the swim team coach is in there, too.
Yeah.
And he blames Buffy's attire as well. He's like, I mean, look at her. She's totally asking for it.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, yeah, dude, you deserve this.
Yeah.
And Buffy's standing around like, what the fuck, dude?
Even the nurse is just like,
Yeah.
Like, when the coach comes in and goes like, and try to dress more appropriately to Buffy before he walks out. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's just wild, man.
They really went to the extreme. I thought this was going to be an ocean thing. I didn't really...
Well, yeah, I don't know.
They're setting up the sexual assault stuff for the later ending.
Yeah.
But man, they go hard.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that aspect of this episode.
And I don't enjoy the beginning of this next scene because of that.
Yeah. The next scene, Buffy's talking to the gang in the library. You got Giles, Xander, Willow, Cordelia, and she's like, can you believe this? Like, this guy's trying to sexually assault me. I hit him in the face, and then everybody's blaming me. And then everybody in the gang looks at her like, why don't you shut up? We're trying to research about this guy that got skinned alive. So back up. We don't really care about your almost sexual assault.
That's exactly how I felt. 100%. I was like, wait, people die at the school like every day.
Yeah.
The Slayer's being sexually harassed by the swim team. And you guys are just like, oh, boring. Like, what? This girl has just been like through the angel situation. Like, like, and you guys are just like, oh, another one of these.
Yeah, the attitude of the gang in this scene is like, well, at least you're still alive to be sexually assaulted. It's like, what? Dude.
Like, if it only could have been worse if Willow was like, you do dress a little slutty. Like, I mean, come on.
I kind of would have expected that from Cordelia, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But, like, honestly, they're like, Giles, this 16-year-old girl is talking about being sexually harassed. And you're just like, sorry, we got to figure out the inside out, boy.
Yeah.
They care more about the swim team's dead sexually harassing swim team people than they are about the person that it just didn't even, like, they could have given her a little bit of like, okay, we hear you. You're
a little bit like, that's fucked up, man. Like, you know what else is messed up?
Easily.
This guy's dead.
Yeah. She's like, oh, well, I want to get back to my sexual assault thing, but let's research this.
Well, after they do it, Buffy is like, okay, I guess I'll shut up.
Yeah. It's like, what? They make her feel so bad about it.
She's like, oh, I guess my stuff, I guess my shit's not important
she goes
anyway.
Home, her mom's like, hey, what's wrong? What happened today? She's like, well, I would tell you, but everyone seems that I should just shut up and be quiet, so I'm going to just do that.
So the principal wants to keep this kid's death quiet. Because he's like, look, we just should like keep going on with this swim team national championship thing.
How are they keeping his death quiet? Does this kid not have a parent?
No, I haven't, dude.
I'm so confused now. Like,
I guess because there's so many deaths at that school, it's like, what?
If your kid doesn't come home in 2 days, just chalk it up.
Yeah,
get your receipt from the mayor. Like, what?
Yeah, but he wants to keep it quiet. He wants to cover it up and be like, don't worry about it. We need to win this championship, coach. We'll just replace him with somebody else. As long as there's a body on the team, like, we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's how championship teams work. You know, when star players get injured or disappear, it's just like replaced with anybody. Yeah.
I don't know what the joke is that Buffy makes, but she makes some kind of lame joke and Giles is like not having it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't write it down.
Yeah. So then Cameron Walker is in the steam room and he's getting a good steaming going and he runs into Xander, who's in the hallway trying to get a soda. And Xander makes fun of his nose. He's like, you guys just can't get enough of Buffy, but she can't get enough of beating the shit out of you. And then Cameron Walker's like, what do you know? You're just some loser. I'm the swim team captain and we run this place. And I'm going to the cafeteria because I got special swim team captain privileges. It's closed for you, though. It's like, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, what time is it? Like, what time is it in the school?
Yeah. So then Cameron gets attacked in the cafeteria by another creature of the Black Lagoon monster. Xander runs into the cafeteria because he hears Cameron being attacked. He sees the skin suit that is gone, turns around, sees the sea monster, and starts screaming about it. And apparently he runs away because Cordelia just trashes him for running away.
They cut to commercial when he sees it, and he's face to face with it. And I'm like, wow, how does he get out of this? And when they cut back from commercial, he's in the library and they're sketching a drawing of what this thing looked like. Because I guess now they sketch artists every monster to try to track it down.
And I also didn't realize what a great artist Cordelia was. That like skill set wasn't put on, like she's drawing it. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, and that's probably why they made fun of Buffy with the with the kid drawing.
Oh yeah.
He's like, is this your work? Because Cordelia's a little better at this than you are. Yeah, I don't know why they're sketching out stuff. But also I was like, wait, he just ran away from that thing?
Yeah, that's the story. Like apparently he came face to face with Xander and then he jumped out the window.
I think he just said he ran.
Oh. I thought I could have swore that they said he jumped out the window. But whatever.
But also like, why is Cordelia making, I understand the like story point, but it logically makes no sense that she would be making fun of him for running away from a body-eating monster.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
She's like, oh, I can't believe you didn't run away from the vampires. Like that's what they always do. You guys always run away.
Yeah, I mean, she's just laying into Xander, too. She's just like, I didn't know that you were such a wimp and you're running away like a big fat lady.
Yeah.
And Xander's like, what? What do you want me to... What?
I know.
And then so they finish the drawing and then Xander's like, yeah, it looks exactly like that, except the mouth is a little frownier or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Giles is also like, you're making this all up.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand. Everyone's being trolled in this episode. He's like, are you sure that's what you saw? I'm like, guy, like, why are we doubting? Why are we doubting what Xander said he saw?
Yeah. And then
it's so weird.
Well, also Cordelia is sad and pissed off that Cam Walker got killed because now the swim team's not going to win the championship. Just like, the most heartless people.
You guys aren't, like, I don't understand how the rest of the swim team is even still ready to compete when 2 people gone missing.
Yeah. And they're both your best swimmers, you know?
There's a dead body skin suit in the cafeteria. Someone had to clean that up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's insane.
So then they start to discuss like who could possibly be behind this. Mm-hmm. And then they land to the conclusion that it's Jonathan, the guy that was getting bullied at the beginning of the episode, because when Buffy saved him, he was like, I've got my own ways of handling this. Mm-hmm. So they're like, it kind of makes sense that he would be the guy that did this. Like maybe he's like some kind of crazy monster. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's logic seems to track.
I knew it wasn't going to be him, but I was happy that he was going to get into the mix a bit more.
I feel like there's got to be something up with him.
I think he's just going to be like that random school student whenever you need a student to do something. He's the person that walks into the library. He had the thing bite him on the back in that Mind Swapper episode. Like he's just that go-to student, which is actually a kind of great role.
Yeah, like he's like never the actual problem.
Yeah.
But the gang is always like around him somehow.
Yeah, like she got like Buffy saved him from the cop with the knife or whatever.
Yeah, like he's eventually gonna get sick. Like I'm sick of you guys. Like why are you always? Everything is terrible whenever you're around.
He's the Mary Jane to Spider-Man, always in trouble.
Yeah. So they decide that Willow's going to question Jonathan about all of these attacks, and because Gage, Prison Break guy, is now the best swimmer that's alive, Buffy should stake out what he's up to just to make sure he's safe and he doesn't get killed. And if there is a sea monster that's going to attack him, she can save him when that monster attacks. Yeah. So Buffy is going to follow Gage. Willow's going to go question Jonathan. So Willow goes to question Jonathan, and she's like, I know that you're trying to take revenge on all the swim team guys. And he's like, you're right. I am. And she's like, I know what you did. Admit what you did. And he's like, all right, I did it. And she's like, yes, this is great. He's the one that's killing all these people. And he's like, wait, what? I didn't do that. She's like, well, then what did you do? What are you admitting to? And he's like, I just went and I peed in the pool. And she's like, oh, wait, ew, that's gross.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. That was a nice little misdirect.
They're having like a little fun. It's like they got the interrogation. She got the light on them in the classroom, you know?
Yeah. Then we have another scene where the coach is annoyed that they're not going to win the championship. And the principal's like, we just need another body on the team. Just gets anybody to join the team. And you'll still qualify. So then we go to the bronze.
And the key there is that Xander overhears this.
Yeah, Xander does overhear this. So now we're at the bronze.
I do want to go back to that scene. The principal is so callous in that scene.
Absolutely is.
Like,
he's like, yeah, so what? They're dying. Just get any old body in there.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, like, isn't keeping the Hellmouth under wraps like having less students die? Like, I mean, not just students, high-profile, popular students are dying.
Yeah.
And going missing right now. And the school is just running like as nothing is happening. If it wasn't for the crew in the library trying to figure this out, no one seems concerned at all.
Yeah, I mean, this school has seen so many fatalities, dude. So many.
Yeah. Like a classroom is being run by a student because a teacher is dead.
Yep. Like, neck snapped on campus.
Yeah.
And that's because...
Found in librarian's bedroom.
I mean, the principal was eaten. The other teacher was decapitated and put in a freezer.
Remember the reaction the school gave when they thought Buffy had killed this guy, Ted?
Yeah.
And everyone looked at her like, you murderer, you monster. Meanwhile, this is happening. It's like,
So many deaths, dude. Like two students on the high profile on the championship swim team have died in the last week or two.
Even Prison Break doesn't even seem to care that two of his friends have died.
No, he does not give a shit. You know what he's doing? He's going to the bronze and playing pool by himself.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing while Buffy's staking him out. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, he notices her stalking him. And
she's doing a terrible job.
She is the worst, dude. She's terrible at lying. She's terrible at spying. Like, she should... I don't know how she survives.
She's super strong. Yeah. And she tried to use her sex appeal in this scene.
Well, I was going to say, I think that she's wearing the sexy trench coat that she wore when Xander was king of the women or whatever. It looked like the same thing that she was wearing when she was about to strip out in front of him.
I don't know. I don't think so. But I wanted her to wear the detective investigation leopard print and sunglasses that she wore when she went to stake out the robot facility or whatever. Yeah.
But then Gage goes over and he's like...
Because they're at the bronze right now. This is
they're at the bronze.
Which is crazy. The bronze is jumping.
Yeah.
As if nothing is happening.
So... he goes over and he's like, what are you doing? Why are you stalking me? And she tries to like sex appeal him and he's like not buying it. And she's like, all right, fine. Look, there's something attacking the swim team. It already killed your friend, the bully. It killed Cam Walker. And we think that you're next. So I wanted to make sure that like you're safe. He never is like, why the fuck would you make sure that I'm safe? Like, what are you going to do?
He just kind of calls her weird and freaks out. Because at this point I was like, going back over the episode and I was thinking, oh, he hasn't said anything negative about Buffy and he hasn't sexually assaulted her yet. So maybe there could be some flirtatious, like, hey, I noticed you're following me. Why is this? Like, maybe they could have like some type of like, okay, he's one of the good swim team guys.
Yeah.
But no, once he walks out of there, he's like, that bitch getting in my business. Like, it's like,
why is this bitch following his bitch?
Yeah, I was like, all right.
And then as he's walking alone, cursing to himself, Angel walks up from behind and he's like, you must be talking about Buffy Summers. I know you're talking about her because I think that she's a bitch too. And he's like, yeah, she is a bitch. Yeah, she's such a bitch. You should hang out with me. We should start a Buffy's a bitch club.
And I was like, no one's outside of the bronze. The bronze is full. And it's not like it's ended. It's not like it's end of the night. He's walking out in the middle.
Yeah. So Angel somehow gets in front of him and he's like, yeah, me and Buffy had a history and guess what, buddy? I'm a vampire. I don't know what happened.
He says, I'm recruiting.
I'm recruiting. Yeah. Wentworth will like he's going
to turn him into a vampire and try to get him to do something.
I don't know what happened because he was in front of Gage. Then Gage like turned around to look behind him. And then when he turned back around, Angel was vampire face.
No, Angel was behind him the whole time.
Oh, he was?
And
whatever.
Angel's behind him the whole time when he walks out. And like, I don't even, Gage barely looks back to see who's even talking to him. And then he goes to look back at the end when Angel says something. And then when he turns the other way, Angel's in front of him with vampire face.
And then Angel bites his neck. Buffy is now walking out of the bronze. She hears Gage scream. And she's like,
no one else
hears
it. No one else hears it.
Yeah.
Crowded place.
There were like 2 or 3 other people outside at that point, I think, with Buffy.
Are there? Like at the end? When she's out there? I mean, it's just weird that this is in front of the place. It's not like a side alley. This is like the entrance.
Yeah. So Buffy runs over, sees Angel biting him. She somehow she gets him off of Gage and then beats up Angel for a little bit. And then she checks on Gage and then Angel slowly walks away.
Oh, no. None of that happened the way you described it.
Really?
Okay.
Hold on. Let me check my notes.
So what happens?
Well, Angel bites him.
Angel's biting Gage's neck. He ends
then
up...
Then Buffy hears Gage yell. Oh, and then Angel spits out whatever he was sucking on.
Angel spits out whatever...
Ew.
Angel's spitting out whatever he's sucking on, and he throws Gage to the ground. Buffy runs out. She pulls out this like blade from her like hair. And she's aiming it at him, like this like little dagger or something.
It's a pencil, I think.
Yeah, it might be a pencil. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, because it's like that would make sense as like a wooden stake.
Yeah. And she pulls that out of her hair. She's staring at him. He's still spitting. He looks down, grabs Gage, and throws Gage at her, pinning her down.
Oh yeah.
Then,
but he also is like Miss Summers.
Yeah. So he picks up Gage, throws him at her, and then he's still spitting out the blood or whatever. And at this point I'm like, oh, is that how you turn people? I don't, because we still don't know how they turn people into vampires. And then she gets up and she's standing up, and then Angel slowly
walks away. And she doesn't chase him at all.
And I'm just like, I thought we got past this. Like,
then
all you have to do is have her still be pinned down by Gage's dead weight while he runs away.
Yeah. I mean, after Buffy stands up too, Gage stands up and he's like, oh man, that was wild. What the hell was that? And then Buffy's like, that's a guy that, there's some crazy shit going on in this town, man. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, because he's like, oh, was that the monster you were telling me about just 3 minutes ago? She's like, no, that's something else.
Yeah. Ask another question, Gage.
You just had a dude biting your neck.
Yeah. What? Ask a question. But instead, he does the Vance thing. Yeah. Where he's like, yo, this shit's crazy. Would you walk me home?
Yes. When he said that, I was like, that's such a humility level that I did not think he was able to reach.
Yeah.
But I'm like
2 seconds ago, he was like, Buffy's such a bitch. I hate her. And then he's like, oh, will you walk me home, please?
And the weird thing is she didn't even do any beating up of Angel, really. Like, to prove that she could still handle herself. You know what I mean? Like, she hasn't, like, proven herself to be like, oh, I need her to protect me. She just knows what's happening. And at the same time, I'm always like, Buffy, walk me home. Buffy, you drop all of us off.
Yeah.
And then you call us when you get home.
So then it's the next day, and for some reason, Willow, Cordelia, and Buffy are watching the swim team practice. And now Gage is like, all right, I'm cool with Buffy. She's not a bitch. He waves to her, and she's like, what? Okay. Waves back to him. And then Buffy, Willow, and Cordelia are discussing what Buffy saw last night, because she's like, why wouldn't Angel feed on him? He was spitting stuff out. Like, what is going on with this? That's weird. And they suspect that it's because Gage is on steroids and the swim team is on steroids, and maybe that's why they're good, number one, and why Angel did not want to feed on him.
Yeah, that leap to steroids was really strange to me. Yeah. But I was like, man, so this episode's now about swimmers and athletes and steroids and drug use now?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be about sexual assault.
They're throwing them all in there. I did want to say, when he's outside in the alley, Gage, that's when the British accent started to come out. After he was bit. After he was bit and he was like, "Oh, will you walk me home?" It sounded like the British accent comes out. I don't know if anyone rewatched, but that's what it sounded like for me. That's what I wanted to mention. But yeah, they're all at the swim. They're all at the swim thing.
And then, surprise, surprise, Xander comes out with his little Speedo on, and everybody starts just heart eyes oogling all over Xander. And with good reason. Based on everyone that we've seen on the swim team, Xander has the best body of anyone on that swim team.
Well, we haven't seen the really good swimmers' bodies.
That's true. They got killed.
Yeah.
I was about to say they got dead.
But we have seen him like shirtless before when he like walks in the classroom in his boxers, and everyone starts laughing at him like it's the most insane thing they've ever seen. And he comes out, he's wet, like he's already been in a pool.
Yeah.
Is there another pool? Well, is he in this? I guess he was in a steam room.
So what you're supposed to do when you actually swim?
Do a dip, right?
Well, you don't do a dip. They have showers like right on the outside of pools, and you're supposed to like shower down before you even get in the pool. Yeah. So maybe that's what he was doing. But yeah, he looks good, and Cordelia is all about it. She's like, I don't care what the hell happens now. All is forgiven. You look so good, and you're on the championship swim team.
This team is not winning the championship. They're just picking up dudes off the street. He has zero cardio. It's no way he could do 2 laps in the pool.
Yeah. He just joined the team.
Yeah.
And they're all like, what are you doing, dude? Like, how did you get on the swim team? He's like, I'm going to investigate. Like, I joined the swim team. I overheard that they are just taking anybody. I joined the team.
Which is insane for a championship team.
Not even a tryout. Yeah. But he's like, I heard they're just taking anybody. I'm joining the team to do some investigation and figure out what's going on with the swim team. And they're like, wow, that's good thinking, Xander. Also, you look mad hot, dude. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, thank you. And he's all embarrassed about it. He's like walking around with like one of those little paddles or whatever. Mm-hmm. But dude, he looks good. Admit that he looks good, man. Don't shrug.
He looks
everybody.
He looks fine.
Vance just shrugged his shoulders. He looks good.
He looks fine. Yeah.
So part of Xander's investigation, he's in the steam room now with the whole swim team, and this is where I was like, "Whoa, Xander's got the best body of anybody on this team."
Well, I'm just a little jaded from watching Marvel movies. You know, they're all bulked up.
That's true.
You know, like this is just this is 90s fit.
Yeah. So he's being awkward as hell. He's like, man, isn't being in the steam room great? This is so fun. I'm happy to be part of the swim team. This is the best. And then you see the monster, one of the water monsters, like under grates.
Yeah.
And he like lifts up the grate and he like is trying to escape or whatever. So Xander then leaves the steam room. And he's talking to Buffy, who's waiting just outside of the men's locker room, and is like, yeah, I haven't found anything yet. But being in that steam room was really fun. And it's your turn now. Now you get to investigate. Gage is in there all by himself, though. So
yeah, she's like, where's Gage? He's like, oh, he's right behind me. He was tying his shoes, but they're not Velcro, so it might take a while. And I'm just like, walk out together.
Yeah.
You got one job. You got one job, Xander.
This is what you joined the swim team to do.
Yeah. Just let them tie his shoes and then walk out together. And why do people always stay in a locker room by themselves?
I don't know.
They always like. I don't know when you played sports or whatever. Didn't people like hang out in the locker room, get dressed, and then like would walk out? It wasn't just
I was out of the locker room as fast as possible.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of lingering and being like, I'm the last one here.
Yeah, I didn't want to hang out in the locker room. It's fucking where all the monsters attack you.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happens next. Now Gage is getting attacked by the water monster. Buffy overhears it and she rushes in to save him. And she starts beating up the monster. And then Gage starts to have a stomach virus type thing. He starts grabbing at his stomach. He's like, falls to the ground. And then it's revealed that he is a monster. He pulls off his own skin and becomes a water monster. And now Buffy's fighting both of them. One of them bites her. And then the coach shows up and he saves Buffy somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's not just brush over this transformation scene. This transformation scene is pretty awesome. Like the reveal,
it's a pretty good transformation.
Yeah, the reveal that these monsters, the reason that they're inside out skin things is that they're the monsters coming out from inside of them.
Yeah, they're like peeling their skin off like a snake.
Yeah, so really interesting twist. Yeah. Because they've been definitely teasing that, like, oh, the monster. And this explained, at first I thought the monster in the cafeteria that didn't kill Xander because he didn't have the steroid in him or something. So I was like, oh, of course he got away because it wasn't going to bite him. But now we know that monster in the cafeteria was actually that guy.
Cameron Walker.
Yeah. But later we find out they still, like, will attack people and bite them. So I don't know how Xander got away from there. But yeah.
So the coach shows up to save Buffy, and then both of the monsters dive into a sewer.
A slip and slide dive into like the sewer grate, which is amazing. It was so funny looking.
It was very goofy.
Yeah.
Like it should have had like a whoop, 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 like a little slide whistle.
Like you can see these stunt people in the costumes sliding, and then the legs flip up when they go.
So Buffy and Giles are talking to the coach about, hey man, your team is monsters. And the coach is confused.
He gives a sad, it's like this weird, like Saturday morning special type speech that he gives. Like, I just wanted to win so bad. I knew I should have known something was going on, but I just looked the other way. And it's like this weird moment where they're trying to get you to have some sympathy for the coach.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the whole time, it's all about, like, are you a part of the team? Are you all about winning? Because that's what the principal says to Willow. That's what the coach says to people. Like, everybody's got to be like, are you a part of the team? Are you a part of giving up and winning for the team? Which I don't understand why it's so much. This episode is overloaded with stuff like that.
Yeah. So then Willow is looking up, and this is where I was like, this is really wild. Willow is able to look up all of the health records for everyone on the swim team. And I was like, this feels wrong.
Also not something that was possible in 98 or 97.
Yeah, well, she's looking it up. She's looking it up on like the school's nurses hard drive or something. Like she breaks into the nurses' records.
I worked a job at a hospital like for summer where I was like organizing earned benefit form, EOB forms or whatever, and they were all in boxes, and I would photocopy them. Like these files were not digitally, like not all on the computer where you could access them from a home computer.
Yeah, it was wild.
I guess, but they do make it seem like this nurse does all their medical stuff somehow, and then puts it all in the computer.
It made it seem like the nurse is like the head like doctor in this whole town.
Well, because
everyone goes to her
because Buffy gets bitten. And they go to all of the stuff happens with the coach giving a speech in that like nurse's office. And Buffy's bitten. And it looks like she got bit on the shoulder, but they're wrapping up her like upper arm. And she's like, hey, this is fine. I wrapped it up, but you might want to get your physician to take a look at it. I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah. The school nurses never, I don't know how qualified school nurses are, but they're never the like last line. They're like emergency situation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most school nurses are only equipped with like Advil and maybe like the
first aid kit,
Robitussin, you know?
Yeah, they're not. They can't give you anything. They can't give you anything stronger than that.
Yeah, I don't think that
they probably can't even give Tylenol now.
Yeah,
with all the allergies and stuff.
Yeah, but apparently, so Willow's looking up all their health records, and it seems like everyone on the swim team had pretty severe injuries. Like one guy like tore his Achilles or something, another guy broke his something or other, and then everyone's like, well, that would make sense now that they're doing steroids. I was like, how does this make sense?
It was like, and then some of the side effects and stuff that they had was like, well, that's on par with steroids, and I'm just like, All right, I guess this was a steroids era, pre-era, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we had it again.
Yeah. So Buffy and Giles are now rummaging around in the sewers, and Giles has his gigantic tranquilizer gun.
They love that gun. They got that gun, and they're like, we're going to use it.
They made mention. They were like, no, don't worry. Giles got his tranquilizer gun.
Where is our werewolf friend? Where's Oz? Yeah.
That's another reason why this feels like a season 1 episode.
Yeah.
You don't even have the full deck of players,
Like, Oz seems like he should be a part of this.
Yeah. So they were in the sewers, and then one of the monsters is stalking them. Then we go back to Xander, who's in the steam room with all the swimmers, and he's trying to get them to admit that they do steroids, and he's like, so when's the next drop? When are we going to get shot up, When's the next batch of steroids?
They're like, will you chill out? 3 of our friends are dead.
Yeah. He's just being like, fuck, who gives a shit about them? We got to win the championship. Where's the steroids at?
You're not winning the championship with 3 of your star swimmers gone.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, guys.
So then they look at him and they are all kind of pissed. And they're like, idiot, there is no injections. There's no syringes. The steroids, they're in the steam room. And then Xander's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I've been doing steroids. And it's revealed that the coach has been dosing them with the steroids. Mm-hmm. And he is talking to the nurse now. And the nurse is like, what are you doing? This is getting out of hand. You shouldn't be dosing these people with steroids. Like, too many people are dying. I don't think we should be doing this anymore. And he's like, shut up. And then he throws her into this like giant sewer where there's like an underwater like cavern prison thing.
This is just all so dumb for so many different reasons.
Absolutely. And it gets dumber.
Yes. Well, so the nurse is walking and like she is talking full volume because they film at the pool, and pool echo sounds, all have that that echoey thing. So it's like vibrating across the whole room, and she's speaking out loud. She's like, I got this. I can figure out a way to I'm so close to getting it dialed in just the right way, and we got to do this for the team. And he's leading her all the way through the pool, through the back. I'm like, what? Why are you following this guy? Like, he leads her all the way to this back alley, the back room, and they go into this place, and he opens a grate and pushes her in.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, you're not part of the team.
Yeah.
And he's feeding her too. And he's like, I care about my boys. And he's like, I'm going to feed you to those guys that are apparently living down there.
Yeah, so all the monsters are in that like cavern sewer situation.
But why?
I don't know.
Because we were on a beach.
Yeah.
We were on a beach, and the monsters like goes into the sewer grate when it could have easily just walked into the ocean.
But he had to win the championship.
But he can't.
But there's no championship to win if you're a big hideous sea monster.
Well, yeah, but later it gets dumber. You're right.
Yeah. Like, I also don't understand, like, so now everybody's dying. Like, how many of these kids got to die before the coach is like, all right, we're not going to win the championship?
I wanted to bring this up. When the coach is giving his, like, sad speech, Buffy's like, well, at least you know they're not dead, though. Yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean they're not dead?
No, yeah.
There's no, like, reversing their skin back on.
Yeah, their humanity is gone.
Like, these families are like, oh, our kids are gone. Like, they say they're... It's not like being turned into a werewolf every full moon. Like, these people are done.
Yeah. That's not Cam Walker anymore.
Yeah.
He can't show up to math class looking like that now. You know what I mean?
Buffy's like, good job with your pie chart.
So the nurse is in the sewer now, and the swim team surrounds her and eats her.
They nibble.
Yeah, they chomp on her.
Yeah, it's God, it's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we go to the library, and Xander's freaking out because he tells him about the steroid steam room. Mm-hmm. And he's like, dude, the steroids have been in the steam room this whole time. I was in the steam room. And Cordelia's like, well, this sucks for me because now you're going to turn into a hideous monster. And I don't want to end up dating a monster. And Xander's like, think about me. I'm turning into the monster. Like, this is so fucked up.
This is one of those things where it's kind of like how they were treating Buffy when she talked about her sexual assault. Where they're like, oh, you're basically about to die, Xander. And they're like, calm down. Everybody just has had a fish monster rip out of their body.
Yeah.
He has every right to be like terrified.
So they're like, well, at least you weren't in the steam room that often. You've only done it once, right? And he's like, I did it like 3 times. And they're like, oh, shit.
They don't even know how this works. And they're just like, sure, 3 times is the problem, not 1. Like, what?
Yeah. So Buffy comes up with this great plan that they need to lock up the swim team.
She just told Giles, yeah, we need to lock up the swim team. He's like, okay, got it. And I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm going to talk to the coach.
Yeah. So she goes to talk to the coach, and he just basically gives up his whole plan. He's like, look,
well, they do the same walk. They walk like, you know, so they do the same shot. So you know what his plan is, but it gets even weirder.
Yeah, it does. So he gives up his whole plan. He's like, the Soviets, they were trying to figure out a way to make people good swimmers, and they never quite perfected the serum, but I've been working and I think I can perfect the serum. And then he just turns around and pulls a gun on Buffy, and I started cackling. Like, whenever people just randomly pull a gun out in this show, it's so funny to me.
It's funny because it works and is effective. Because Buffy can't beat bullets.
Yes.
And he starts talking about Russian fish DNA experiments that they were running on their swimmers. And he's like, I am a high school California coach. I know how to exact this formula. And you know what? I found a formula that can make perfect swimmers. And I decided I'm actually not going to try to do Olympics or anything. I'm going to try to win a high school swim meet.
Yep.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
This is your level. I'm going to win the community college swim team track. Like, what is his plan?
Yeah, maybe he's going to get a promotion to the college coach, and then from there he gets to be the Olympic guy.
I just loved Russian fish DNA experiment.
So he's got the gun on Buffy, and he's like, and guess what? Now that I've told you my whole plan, get in the hole, get in the sewer. And so Buffy just like, it's like, well, you just going to feed me to him? And then she jumps into the hole, and he goes, oh no, my boys have already eaten, but they've got other needs. And I was like, what the hell is going on, dude?
I was like, gross. How did you know this? Like, they have not turned that much. Like, are you letting them rape students?
Yeah,
like,
I don't
live?
know.
Like, I don't know. I don't know how deep this goes. Is the principal helping? Because he seems to be a part of this. And why does it matter if you win the swim tournament? It doesn't matter.
It's so gross. And it's so out of they're trying to do too many stories in this episode, I think. Like, there's a sexual assault story, there's a monster story, there's steroid story. It's like, there's two, they could have done away with one of these. Like the steroid, I mean, it was just too much.
So much. And
when he's like, no, my boys, they got other needs. Like, who
gross.
else have you thrown down into this hole for them to rape?
Yeah. And it seems like they barely ate the nurse. She's floating around.
Yeah, the nurse is floating around. She's just got a little bit of bites marks on her. Like, if it was a vampire, I'd have understood because they sucked the blood out. But it's like she's still whole. They're not eating the entirety of the nurse.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So then we cut to Cordelia and Xander walking around the pool, and Xander's all paranoid. He's like, am I all scaly yet? I'm all scaly. And Cordelia's like, yeah, you're scaly, but it's not because of the monster stuff. Like, you just got bad skin. And he's like, well, I'm going to go take a shower. I feel like I need to take a shower, so I'll be right back. And then Cordelia keeps walking.
He doesn't go to take a shower. He just goes to look at himself in the mirror.
Oh, yeah. Right. So Cordelia keeps walking, and then one of the swimmer monsters shows up, and it takes a dive into the pool, and Cordelia turns around and sees it, and she's like, oh God, no. Xander's turned into a monster. And then she keeps walking, and she gives this whole speech of like, you know what, Xander, through all of this and through everything we've been through, I think I can make it work with you as a monster. You know, we can, I'll take you by the pool. I'll feed you whatever kind of fish you need. I'll do whatever you need because, you know, I'm such a big fan of you, actually. And I want to keep dating you even though you're a monster. And as long as you bring home that swimming championship, that's totally cool. And then Xander pops up from behind her. He's like, hey, that's not me. And then the monster jumps up out of the pool and starts attacking them.
The monster does a casual dive into the pool and just is swimming laps, which is hilarious.
Yes.
Also, this Cordelia speech, my God, I guess, Xander, you might have to hang on to her because if she's willing, from everything we know about her, if she's willing to stick with you as a fish monster, dude, that is some next level. Dedication. That's some next level stuff.
Well, also, how did she? Oh yeah, never mind.
She turned, like her whole idea turned, like everything she was complaining about turned immediately. And then there's like this weird upbeat music, this like sappy music being played while she's saying this.
Yeah,
it's so cartoony, out of character for her, and it's just set up for the like, it's not me. But he should be like, wait, so all that stuff you said, like...
Yeah, I wish there would have been a payoff later on to be like, I heard what you said to the fish monster that you thought was me.
Yeah, like, that's some deep stuff that she was saying, like...
Yeah, she's a fan.
She's
I was waiting for her to confess, like, I love you, Xander.
Yeah,
but she doesn't.
Yeah, she didn't want to die. She didn't want to drop the love word and end up dying off on the show.
True.
Don't say I love you in Buffy.
So then they run away after the monster leaps out of the pool and kind of starts attacking them.
Yeah.
And then we cut to...
wait, why did he make fun of her for running away?
Right?
That's what he
Well, she's a lady. So it makes sense why she would run away.
Why she should be making fun of him for running.
Yeah.
While she's running. That'd be great. That's the payoff they needed right there.
So the next scene is perhaps my favorite scene. Giles is locking the entire swim team in library jail.
I wrote that down too, library jail. And they're just all walking in there.
Yeah, they're like, what's this all about?
The librarian says, hey, swim team, follow me to the library. Hey, get into this cage. I'm going to lock you in for your safety. What high schooler is doing that? What group of like steroided up aggro swim team high schoolers are listening to this British librarian that's planning to lock them away?
Yeah, and then he's also kind of like talking loudly to now Xander and Cordelia are in the room and they're like, hey, one of the monsters almost attacked us at the pool. And then he's like, well, we got the whole swim team locked up over here. If one of them becomes a monster, you know, we'll do something about it. And if they don't, well, at least they're safe or some kind of shit. And I'm like,
one of them turns into a monster and eats the rest of them.
Yeah. It's like, dude, this is such a bad plan.
And then at one point, don't they talk about like, oh, well, the hospital we need to get some of the samples so the hospital can work on an antidote. The hospital just works on mysterious antidotes of things that no one knows about? Is this how Sunnydale works now?
Dude, nobody's heard of these fish monsters before.
So no one knows about vampires and demons, but they're still working on science to reverse the effects of certain demons and things?
It makes no sense.
It's just like they just throw that out there.
So the monsters are now surrounding Buffy in the sewer thing.
Mm-hmm.
Xander shows up and he starts fighting with the swim team coach. He's like, I can't believe that you did this. You're injecting us with steroids and all this shit. And Buffy's like beating up some of the monsters in the sewer, like fending them off a little bit.
Buffy has a line down here that's just where she makes a joke about her reputation.
Yeah, she's like, oh, this isn't going to be good for my reputation.
I'm like, wow, Buffy, in the face of fish rape, you're still making jokes.
Not just fish rape,
like
fish gang rape.
Yeah, fish monster gang rape. Like, because it's like 4 of them down there or something.
Yeah. It's so wild, dude.
And I don't know where the one that was in the swimming pool is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, why did they go down into this dungeon area?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So Xander's fighting the coach, and then he kind of incapacitates him.
I love that they pan down to the gun behind him when he's talking to him.
Yeah. Then Xander, and this is where it lost me.
Okay, yeah, I buy it.
Xander is like, Buffy, take my hand, because he's at the top of the hole. Mm-hmm. Now, previously, it looked like the ceiling was like 20, 30 feet from where the top of the pool is.
I didn't think it was that far.
Well, the height changes every time.
Yeah.
So Xander's like, let me, Buffy, take my hand. Buffy does this like crouch down super jump, which we've seen her do before. She leaped over a fence.
Yeah.
Jumps into Xander's hand, and then he's like pulling her up. He pulls her up out of the hole.
Wait. I thought your issue was going to be him being able to pull her up.
That is a big issue too. Like, that's much weight.
He's got one hand pulling Buffy up, and then at one point, all the fish people are hanging on Buffy too. So he's holding up like 5 people with his arm.
He's like bicep curling Buffy, and
his shoulder
the fish guys
sort of ripped out of its socket.
Yeah, dude, the fish guys are grabbing at her feet.
Yeah.
And he somehow pulls her up out of there, that's so much weight. Even if it was just Buffy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Buffy weighs at least probably like 100 pounds.
Yeah. You need two
hands.
That's
a lot of weight.
You need 2 hands and like some leverage on your feet to like pull her up.
Yeah.
I thought I really wanted, and I guess they don't. You know what? They could have done this in the show. I really wanted him to grab the gun and start shooting him, fish in a barrel style. The gun was right there. I thought he was just going to start blasting. He's got military training.
That's true.
He's got military guy training. There's a gun right there. And I don't care if we want to say that these are stole the kids. You know? It's over. Yeah. They're rapey monsters. Like, that's it.
So he pulls her out. The coach comes up from behind Xander, whacks him on the head with a wrench. And then somehow trips and falls into the hole, which is now back to like the 20-foot high ceiling.
Yeah.
Because when Buffy was there, it looked like it was only like 10 feet. And when Xander's pulling her out, it's 10 feet. But then when the coach falls in, it looks so much higher.
Yeah, there's definitely some inconsistency there. But doesn't he try to hit Buffy, and then Buffy somehow dodges it? And it's funny how they throw the stunt guy, like they throw the thinner stunt guy down in the thing. Yeah.
So now the coach is in the water. And the water monsters surround him now. And I wrote, and they rape him?
I wrote the line down.
What was the line?
So he's in there, and you just see Buffy and Xander, Xander, I guess he took that hit to the head with the wrench pretty well because he's back up. And they're looking down in the hole, and you hear like all the fish people are swarming the coach. And Buffy goes, those boys really love their coach.
And Xander has this smirk on his face.
I think this is like take 4, and he's just trying not to laugh.
I forgot that line is so weird.
That line is dark as fuck. Those
fish
people are raping the coach.
And they're both watching and laughing.
Well, I don't think he's supposed to be laughing. Like, I think Buffy's just doing her Buffy one-liner.
Yeah.
And she was also making fun of herself when she was down there. So she can definitely make fun of this. And I think Xander's face, because I definitely looked at his face. I think his face is the actor trying not to laugh at the line more so than... Could you imagine being an actor and be like, all right, so this is the scenario that you're looking at. You're watching the coach being raped by 4 fish guys. Yeah. Buffy's going to say this quippy line. Like what an insane reaction you have to have. Yeah, or it was one of those things where he didn't know exactly what his face should be like. Because it's like one of those moments where it's like, oh, he got his comeuppance, but you're also watching a guy being raped by 4 fish. Yeah. So it's like, what are you supposed to look like? I don't know. And it's just, I wrote that line down. Those boys really love their coach. And I was like, oh, man, this is a problem.
So then it's the next day at school, and Xander's explaining all the plasma treatments that he has to get.
He says I have to go to plasma transfusions after like class. I'm like, dude, you're getting dialysis now? Like, this is with all the kids, all the swim team.
Yep.
So the swim team's not going to the championship.
No, that's what I was about to say. I was like, what happened to this championship?
Yeah. Where's the principal?
Did they win?
We need the principal. We need to be like, hey, remember the nurse that we had and the coach that we had and a couple of those students that we had? They're not here anymore.
Yeah, they're all dead.
In one day, we don't have a swim team.
Yep.
Does Willow have to change grades now? She doesn't have to worry about it because the dude's dead. Like, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. And then Giles shows up and he's like, animal control was called. They can't find any of the monsters.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. What is that? Why do they keep calling animal control for ghosts and demon stuff? Like, what is this? Animal control is like, okay, can I just get a raccoon in the basement?
Yeah.
Like, every time it's like, hey, so the cafeteria is overrun by demon snakes. There's these giant rapey fish monsters. I know you're mostly doing rats and roaches, but yeah, can you send over your biggest, burliest exterminator? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this? Is that the most dangerous job, working Sunnydale extermination? Animal control?
I also want to know, like, do the people of Sunnydale know about the monster? Like, is it common knowledge now that these monsters exist?
Hey, why is my son getting blood transfusions after school every day?
Yes. Yeah, dude. Like, this has to be public knowledge.
There's elections. There's elections. There's a mayor. There has to be news. There's records on file that Willow can find.
Like, there has to be some kind of public knowledge about this.
It's
so after Giles is like, animal control can't find them, so we don't know where they are. We cut to the ocean, broad daylight.
Well, Buffy goes like, oh man. So I think Willow says, oh, so that means they could come back, and then Buffy's like, no, I don't think they're gonna come back. I think they're going home.
Oh, right.
Because of like what that guy was saying in the beginning of like, oh, the ocean, that's our mother, like whatever. Because before he's fished, that's what that was setting up, right? But I don't understand why they would end up going into that little basement area where the coach was and going back to school if they got the call of the ocean. But yeah, you can describe this.
Yeah, so then it's broad daylight and there's like 3 of these hideous, gigantic fish monsters just frolicking and taking a dip in the ocean, and then the episode ends.
Well, they're swimming out into the ocean.
Yeah. But it's daylight.
Yeah.
Like, somebody, like, that's why I'm like, this has to be public knowledge at this point.
See, my issue is different than this. My issue
What's your issue?
My issue is them being like, it's fine. They're going back to the ocean. You think they're never coming to land to rape and kill?
Yeah.
Like, sharks can swim near the beach. They would walk up on land and eat stuff if they ate human people. Like, these people can walk around and breathe out of water. What makes you think they're just going to go into the ocean and just eat fish?
Yeah.
I mean, they have rapey human needs and they'll rape a dude or a girl. Like, they don't even care.
Yeah.
Like, these are things that need to be stopped.
No, they're going home, Vance. It's fine.
She treated these things like they were Angel and just let them walk away. Like, I was just like,
well, it's like these
tried to rape dangerous.
You.
These things are dangerous. They tried to eat and rape you. Like,
they did eat the nurse.
Yeah.
They tried to rape Buffy herself, and she's like, boys will be boys.
Did animal control find the raped corpse of the coach or the nurse when they went down there? Like, who cleans that up?
I don't know. The principal. He's like, we gotta cover this up. The mayor will be pissed.
He was like, I thought
everybody was a gas leak.
I thought we could win the swim meet before I had to cover all this up. Some parents are getting paid off or something, man.
They have to be. They have to be.
It's like you can't be friends with like a swim team dude and come to school and be like, where is he? And they're like, oh, yeah. That's it.
This was a bonkers episode.
Bonkers. A lot of stuff to nitpick. Still enjoyed it better than the last two.
Yeah.
But it still has like they're still floating around with that problematic stuff.
Absolutely, they are.
And like I don't know. Is that just in the 90s? Is that just the show? I don't know.
I think it's the 90s. It was a different time.
Yeah. I just wish they would have listened. I wish her friends would have cared when she was talking. That scene bothered me more than anything. I was like, oh God, like, Buffy going Buffy. On again about being a sexual assault.
Oh, we get it. People want to fuck you.
Yeah, people think you're weird but hot.
Xander's like, man, what I would give.
Dude. He jumps down into that fish thing. Like, say something for me.
And that is Go Fish. Any last things on Go Fish, Vance?
I'll say our predictions weren't right. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I did not predict this.
No, I didn't either.
Did you? Maybe you said something like Creature from the Black Lagoon.
No, I don't think I did.
Maybe you did.
Well, thanks for having that faith in me, but I don't have that faith in myself.
I think you referenced it at least.
So yeah, that's Go Fish, everybody. Thanks for listening. Rate and review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy. You want to write in boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. Join our Discord. Join the Discord. It's been popping. It's been live, man.
Yeah,
we're active on there.
This is a good one to talk about.
Oh yeah, we have a whole bunch of fun little categories. We got Slay of the Week. We've got.
I got a Joe's Fashion Corner for this one.
Oh yeah, do you?
That V-neck shirt that Xander is wearing when he's walking in the hallway complaining about the swim team. It's like this baggy, loose V-neck over like a blue undershirt thing. Yeah, it looked very grungy. I don't know.
Bad.
Yeah, it was not a good look for him.
It looked terrible because
I'll buy it if they wanted it to be him being in something 90s everything was looser than it is now, clothing wise. But maybe if they wanted him to look like really slovenly, so that when he's in his red Speedo, it's like, oh, bigger transition.
Well, it was like the blue undershirt was so tight and the sweater over top was like maroon and khaki, and it just was a horrible color clash.
And it was like leaning to the left side, so it wasn't like centered on and the neck hole was too deep of a V.
Yeah. I mean, even the neck hole on the blue undershirt was pretty big.
Yeah. It just, that one just stood out to me. I'm not a huge fashion corner person, but that one was one of those ones that's like, that's something.
Yeah, that was rough. So yeah, join the Discord, and the next episode is titled Becoming Part 1. So what do you think that's about? What is our prediction here?
I'm just going to say Angel becoming, since this is this 2-part of the finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is him Angel becoming more human again, so that he can have a spinoff, I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to guess that either Buffy or Cordelia become a vampire. And then they're going to have like a Blade situation with Buffy where it's like she's a vampire and a slayer or some shit. Or Cordelia becomes a vampire because she's an angel.
Yeah, I could see it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I'm going to throw that out there. I don't know.
Yeah. Which would be a shame to lose Cordelia this early in this show.
Yeah. But
I know there's another character that shows up that's really popular in Buffy that we haven't
met yet. I was talking to somebody about how we have this podcast, and they were like, are you team Angel or team Spike or team this person? And I was like, I never even heard of that person. Thanks for spoiling it.
Oh, I thought it was, I was talking about like a female character.
Oh, yeah. Well, it might be a female guy. I mean, I don't know. But they were like, they said this other person. I was like, I never even heard of that person. And they were like, oh, whoops, sorry. And I was like, shit.
It's really hard to be team Angel.
Right? Especially at this point.
Yeah.
So we will talk to you all next time. Thanks for listening again. And stay tuned for next week when we review Becoming Part 1.
Okay, good pie charts, everyone.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.